Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Studies Up podcast, where we break down the beautiful game with no filters, no fub. I'm your host, Ayun Agudo, and today we got a stack episode. The U.S. national team just got themselves embarrassed in another friendly, and that is 4 games in a row they have lost under the new management. And the Club World Cup right now is looking like a ghost town with them struggling to sell tickets. And Premier League Big Six or the Big Eight now, they're moving mad. They're buying players. They're playing in FIFA, and hey, the MLS is going on at the same time. My city, my team in MLS, quietly taking along, doing great. So let's dive into it, and welcome to my new channel. First up is the United States men's national team. My God, is there a chaos or meltdown that's going on with them right now? First of all, they just got pumped 4-0 by Switzerland home. And granted, let's take this with a grain of salt. It was probably the B team, the most C team. But the manner in which they lost was incredible. They were 4-0 down by the time it was like in it, and utter disgrace. And supposedly this is 1 year out from the World Cup that is being hosted mainly in the United States, but is with Mexico and Canada. But majority of the games are going to be here. So it's a home tournament for them. And it's a year away. And they're looking already dysfunction. There's chaos in the camp. Players choosing not to turn up. And the others and the legends criticizing them. And then the parent comes in. And I'm talking about Christian Pulisic in here. Landon Donovan said something about Pulisic about not willing to come for U.S. national team because he's tired. Well, Landon Donovan is probably not the best messenger here because he took a year off back when in 2013 and 14, which most people calls him the World Cup. However, he's not wrong in what he's saying. And somehow Pulisic's dad took that as a dig and is now causing chaos. And then current players are coming in defending Pulisic. And just yesterday, the manager, the U.S. coach, Pochettino, came in and said that players to stick to our plan. They cannot just pick and choose which game to play because it turned out that Pulisic wanted to just come for the friendly games but not make a commitment to the Gold Cup, which is the tournament that's happening this summer. Yes, like you can tell, there's too many soccer going on in the United States this year. We got the Gold Cup, we got the Club World Cup, and the MLS is still playing at the same time. However, some players chose not to show up, like players like Christian Pulisic. Some of them had reason. Majority of them were not there because of injuries. The rest were not there because they're participating in the Club World Cup. But Pulisic for AC Milan basically did not show up. What makes his situation worse is the fact that he's the captain of the national team. You need to show up. You need to be accountable. It doesn't matter if you're tired or not. You are the leader of this group. You should show up, rain and shine. You are the one supposed to be setting the example that people show up regardless. However, let's talk about Pochettino. Personally, when he was appointed, it was so much excitement. This guy is a bona fide coach, probably the best coach U.S. has appointed to be honest, he came with pedigree. I've been coaching the Europe, having took team to the Champions League's final. Granted, they lost, but coaching in the Premier League, coaching in the League One, coaching in La Liga, he had the experience. He had the talent to be the best coach the U.S. has ever had. But his tenure started off rocky. He have lost 4 games in a row. First time, and I guess in 40 years, that you have lost 4 games in a row. And this is not looking good right now. There's some fan are calling for his head and all of that, but that's an overreaction. He's staying bad. But my personal opinion is going to get better given time. And he have exactly 1 year to that World Cup to sort his house out because we cannot be having a terrible performance when it comes the World Cup time at home it's going to be embarrassing. This is going to be the biggest World Cup in a long, long time. And it's going to be the most important World Cup for U.S. soccer and changing the trajectory of soccer in America for a long time. So U.S. need to be able to need to go deep in this World Cup. So Pochettino better buckle down and fix this. Fix this to make sure by the time the World Cup roll around, they're ready to go. Because what we're seeing right now is not good enough, and you, as rightfully so, took the blame for it. So now fix it. Moving on. So the U.S. moving on. Let's go to the Club World Cup. Nobody wanted this tournament. The players are tired. The fan don't really care about a summer tournament before in the middle when all of these are going on. Somehow that feeling is being reflected still. It wasn't until they start making deal with the student body in Miami to get fan into the stadium, and having gone through multiple stage of price cutting in order to get people to buy tickets, FIFA is struggling to sell them tickets. And the first game, Miami versus Al Ahly from Egyptian champ, wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Attendance was didn't look full. And that is a 65,000 seating stadium, the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And I don't know why they put it in there, especially for Miami. But they were hoping the star power Messi would convince people to buy a ticket and be able to fill the stadium. That hasn't been the case. And according to Athletic, right now, the only team that actually selling their ticket is Boca and Real Madrid. Boca Juniors and Real Madrid are the two highest selling club that are selling their tickets and most likely would have fans at their stadiums. But everybody else is struggling to sell tickets, including Manchester City, including PSG, who just won the Champions Leagues. Not people don't like to watch them. It's just the interest in this tournament is not there. And for a couple of reasons, like I say, nobody wanted this tournament to happen. But mainly, the political climate that is going on in the U.S. right now is also affecting it. A lot of people are afraid that if they show up because of their skin tone, which is cannot put it past the authorities in the U.S. to just round everybody up, regardless of where they're from, and just try to send them to Mexico or El Salvador like they've been doing. So that fear with the majority of fan base, especially the Latin America fan base and probably the South America fan base also, because the history with the skin tone and all of that in America is not great. So the anxiety of the political climate in the United States, combined with the lack of interest in general in this tournament, and everybody just viewing it as FIFA attempt to get more money, kind of made it seem like, oh, this is not going to be great. Some people are still going to watch it. Most of me, I'm going to try to watch some of the games also, but it's not looking good so far. Maybe when we get deep into this tournament, we're going to start seeing those attendance go up. We're going to start seeing the interest in it go up. But at this particular time, it's not. And it's like FIFA is struggling and they're having to do multiple cut of the prices in order to get people to attend them and buy tickets. And it's going to work. Maybe it's not going to work. Time will tell. Let's move on to the next topic. So the Premier League is a transfer window somehow was open from June to June 10 to get people the opportunity to buy players so they can take them to the Club World Cup. And Premier League top 8 teams are moving mad. They're buying players like they're playing FIFA. Spend $200 million in the transfer window. They already signed 3 players already. They signed a midfielder from Iran for about $60 million. They signed Ed Nori from Wolf for $45 to $50 million. And they just signed Cheek from for $40 million. And they're spending just crazy. But consider they are the big dog and consider the season they had last season. Well, just spend whatever they want. My problem is that they have spent close to 400 to 500 million since January, and somehow they're still good on PSR. which to me show that this PSR thing is complete bullshit. Nobody's paying attention to it. Nobody care about it because how is City able to spend that much money? How is Chelsea still buying players? Consider like they spent over $1 billion in a year and a half and somehow still buying players and they're not anywhere close to breaching the PSR restriction on them. That to me is bonkers. But also Chelsea, like I say, they're sticking to their models of buying young players. They continue to buy young. Signed Javenda Quinda from Sporting, and they also signed another kid from Sporting too. Forgot his name. And now they're looking like as Gins at Borussia Dortmund as another young player they signed. They also signed Delap from Ipswich. So Chelsea continue to buy the young players route, and they continue to spend so much money. Somehow, teams still have holes in it for a team that spent $1 billion. That, to me, is remarkable, how you still have missing pieces in your team and you spend that much money. Let's move on. Manchester United started the transfer window very, very strong. My team, we needed goals. We needed absolutely goals. So we signed Cunha, who scored Premier League last season, and he also provided 8 assists. Incredible. I'm like, all right, this is the first time our team are not doing their business toward the end of transfer window in July, or already with two games into the season in August, like when we bought Casemiro and Anthony, spent ridiculously amount of money on them because we waited until beginning of the season in order to buy them. But this season, we bought Cunha in. We agreed personal term with Brian Umbremo, and now we're looking at a striker. Chances that we're going to be going for either Victor Osimhen, Victor Gyökeres, or Yugi Etatike from Frankfurt. Either one of them is going to be good. Like we were saying, our part owner was saying that we have money in January, and we are over here signing a $62 million player, putting in like a 50+5 bid for Umbremo, and looking at Victor Gyökeres, who's cost somewhere north of $80 million to come to United. And where do we find the money? Consider we miss out also the Champions League, and we're not going to be playing in Europe next season. Where are we finding money? You never know. One got to be lying. Either we had the money all along, or we don't have the money and we more money. The way we're moving, it seemed that we had the money all along. Therefore, maybe Sir Jim was lying when he was saying we almost ran out of money. And the big spender this transfer window is Liverpool. Liverpool just agreed a deal for Vert from Bayern Leverkusen as their big signing. Liverpool barely spend money, so this is a big deal. And the scary part is when Liverpool spend big money, they tend not to miss. When they spend like 60 to 80 million on Van Dijk is still there. When they spend like 70 on Alisson, is still there. So spend big money, they tend not to miss. They're dropping a lot of money on a foreign bird from Bayern Leverkusen. 150 mil. That's a lot of money. Hopefully, he's going to turn out to be the player they want. But from what I've seen, it's a good player, but I don't think he's 150 million worth of a player. But that's not the only signing. They also signed like Jeremy Ping-Pong from Bayern Leverkusen also to replace Trent Alexander-Arnold, who went to Real Madrid. And it's like, is it upgrade, or it might be slightly upgrade, but to me it's kind of like lost one good right back. They brought in one very good right back also. So they kind of like still in the same level, and they are also in the market for left from Bournemouth. And if they do that, they just upgrade it. To me, their left back, because Robertson up and down, but they upgraded their left back. They also have a good right back in Ping-Pong now. Hey, they're looking really, really strong, and they're looking like they're gonna do something in the market. The team in the transfer window are like Tottenham. Tottenham haven't really got into this transfer window yet because they have been trying to sort out their manager. After winning the Europa League, beating us, they deliberated and they came to the conclusion that like Big Ange need to go They sack Big Ange, and then the target when they will be negotiating recently as the manager was Thomas from Brentford. So now they assigned the deal and they have a manager. They're going to start making transfers. One of the transfers they made so far already, if they turn like Till loan into a permanent deal, which is good. They need a striker, even though he didn't pull up in the trades last season. Nobody pulled up in the trades in their team anyway because they finished 16th place in the Premier League. However, with Thomas Frank coming in, these players are going to play better than what they showed last season. And on top of that, they've been reported, which most people, like some incredible United journalists, play down. Some Tottenham journalists also played this down, that they bid it 70 million for Brian Mbeumo, but Brian Mbeumo still preferred to join Manchester United. So Tottenham hasn't got into the transfer window yet, but they will. And the other big team that qualified with the Champions League, and they're very, very quiet for some reason, is Newcastle. Newcastle, the only incredible link that they have to right now is Anthony Alanga from Nottingham Forest to rivals one of their wings. But I don't know if it's like that much of an upgrade from Murphy, but it is an upgrade from Murphy, and it's much better than Murphy, but I don't know how much of an upgrade that will be. But Newcastle hasn't got into the transfer window. And to me, there's one reason why they haven't done that. The PSR they're one of the team in the England that seem to actually be affected by PSR, even though they have the most wealthiest owners in world football. The only other owners that can rival them are the PSG owners. But Saudi Arabia, because Newcastle are the richest owners in football. But Newcastle is somehow struggling with PSR. I don't know how they're going to solve how that should end. But right now, they're more focused on keeping their players. And will be happy if they just get a couple of French players that will help with their depth if they don't lose anybody from their starting lineup. Yeah, especially up top. If they keep Gordon, if they keep Isak, they're going to be all right. Because Barnes just getting into his stride now. Gordon been up and down, but it was mainly injuries, and Isak been man on fire. So if they can keep Isak, they're gonna be all right. And moving to midfield, if they keep Tonali, they keep Joe Linton, they Marriage, they're gonna be okay. They just need to keep their best players and maybe add one or two there. They don't need to add a huge player that they can spend ridiculous amount of money on. They just need a Premier League qual that can be a backup or push for a starting role, especially up top on one of the wings, and maybe a center half. But other than that, Newcastle, technically their starting 11 is way better already. They just need to maintain it. And the fact that they haven't bought anybody in the transfer window right now is not a big concern to me, because they will get into it. So that is what's going on in terms of transfers with the big Premier League teams. In the other other league, like Kevin De Bruyne signed for Napoli, even though they just won the league. They signed trying to retain Serie A. Inzaghi left Inter Milan, gone to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. Like I say, Real Madrid signed Alonso. They got rid of their head coach, Paulo Ancelotti, who's now the Brazilian national team head coach. And they also got in Xavi Alonso from Bayer Leverkusen as their new manager. And they signed Trent Alexander-Arnold as the player, and they also signed Højsen from Bournemouth as a young center half that is one of the best in the world and had an incredible season in the Premier League. They signed him, they signed Trent, and they're looking like they're gonna be all right post Ancelotti and recovering from having a terrible season in La Liga and the Champions League. Well, that is it in terms of Europe. Let's go into MLS. So I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and my team is Nashville Soccer Club. And this season, especially last summer when they got in the new, no, last season they got in a new manager, BJ Callahan, who used to be an assistant head coach in the U.S. national team and briefly an intern manager for them. But when they hire Pochettino they got it. We got him as our head coach, and the team that we had built was built for Gary Smith. Was mainly a defensive team that play on the counterattack with two or three good players in Hani Mukhtar, Sam Sorich, and like Lial, but Lial was constantly getting injured. But how? Oh, I forgot. There's one more Zimmerman in the back. So over the summer, when we got him in, we got a mid-season. We didn't do much. We missed the playoff. But during this summer transfer window, off season, we went through a complete revamp of the team. We got rid of almost everybody in the midfield and brought in new players in the midfield. Got rid of a few people in the back, brought in new players, mixed between old and young, and completely reshuffled the team to where he becoming more possession-based team that can play with the ball. And that transition first was a bit rocky and all of that, but now they're just quietly taking along, picking up point, like winning games and all of that. And they just fly under the radar and nobody really paying attention to them. But they now just went 11 games undefeated, and they're quietly just picking up point, beating some very good team, also doing good in the cups, and like Mukhtar and Sam being on fire, the best goal scoring duo in MLS right now. And I cannot wait for this to continue. We just roll into the playoff with with this momentum, and we're gonna be all right. And who has ever Nashville Soccer Club, one of the most informed team in MLS last what the year they had last season. And I'm just hope the boys in goal keep it this way and just keep performing, keep putting their head down. Don't worry about the noise or who's giving you credit, who's not giving you credit. Just go on that field and do your job, win the games. When you go on the road, do what you can, do not lose that game, and you're gonna make the playoff. And anything can happen once you get into that MLS playoff. We can get in as a 8th seed or first seed. It doesn't matter. Once you're in the playoff, anything can happen. And the fact that we have two goal scorers now is very, very important. It's very, very important that no matter what, we have two guys that are capable of scoring at any day. And that's helped us in the playoff. Before, when we made playoff, it's always been just Mukhtar, and everybody else is everybody else. But now we got Mukhtar, and our attack, Mukhtar, Sam are doing really good. We just need a person to be, not to be as prolific as them. We just need a third person to kind of take the pressure off a little bit. When they don't have so much of a good game, that person come up and actually do something. And consider Tyler Boyd is now coming back from injury. I'm not expecting so much from him because he's coming back from an ACL injury. But if Tyler Boyd is able to get back to speed and to be even 80% of who the player we thought we were signing from LA, then we might have that a third amigos in this three amigos group that is our front line. And for some reason, Schabenberg hasn't got into the system with like Jay Callahan yet, but we still have like a dynamic like speedster in our team in Schabenberg, but we're gonna lose him for a couple of months because playing in a Gold Cup with Canada. But our defense is looking strong with Zimmerman and Jack Mayer holding it down. Our fullback are not doing too bad themselves. Love it and Niger on the right. So the team is looking good. So let's keep the momentum, keep building on it. Just take it along one game at a time. Before you know it, you find yourself a playoff, hopefully as a fourth seed, and you guys can do serious damage. For today, guys, the U.S. is in crisis. The Club World Cup is flopping. The Premier League is playing fantasy football with their money and buying players. Nashville Soccer is doing great and just quietly going about their business. And so thank you guys for watching my episode. And don't forget to hit the like, share this comment, share, and leave a comment in the comment section below. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys. Peace.